The facts are that this budget has about $4 trillion in tax cuts and about $1 trillion in spending cuts. And so the rest is simple arithmetic. That then says that that's going to cost the budget about $3 trillion.
And some of these spending cuts may never actually happen, right?
Yes, I'm going to talk about everything to the nearest trillion. This is how crazy it is. There's a gimmick which is tax cuts till the end of the Trump administration, but we know exactly what happens in 4 years' time, which is they're going to say, well, we can't have a tax hike, therefore they're going to have to come back. And so there's another trillion or so in gimmicks right there. That's just an accounting gimmick. The Republican answer to this has been, yes, but the tax cuts will spur so much growth that, in fact, they pay for themselves. This is a lie on its face. We've seen this movie before. It just doesn't work. Reagan told this story, Bush told this story, Trump told the story in the first term. Here's this weird fact. If you cut taxes, you cut tax revenues. Simple as that. Anyone who tells you they pay for themselves is lying to you and almost certainly lying to themselves. There's not a credible economist on planet Earth who believes these tax cuts pay for themselves. So then you're asking what happens to the debt. Of course, deficits accumulate and add to our national debt. The more you go into debt, the more others worry that you can't repay your debt, and therefore they jack up interest rates. This is the really important reason to always be a little bit worried about what's going on with your debt. Taking on student loan debt to go to college can be a good idea or a bad idea. If you take on $40,000 worth of debt and turn up to the University of Michigan and never go to class and drink beer and go to football games, you've set yourself up to be repaying your student debt every week for the rest of your life. That's a terrible reason for going into debt. And so when you're thinking about government debt, the question is this more like spending on beer and Skittles, or is this more like investing in your education? So spending on a military parade, beer and Skittles. Spending on early childhood education, it turns out that yields such enormous returns, it actually yields more in future taxes than it costs to do. So really, as much as we economists want to confuse people, I think the most powerful thing is to think about it line by line. Is this useful and worth repaying, or is this a waste of money?